KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're live on YouTube. And guess what, guys? I have an Eddie Murphy update. We're still in the running. We got a response from Amazon Prime today. Stefan, did you see it?
I did see it.
Mark, did you see it?
In fact, I did. Yeah.
We're still in the running.
Well, sort of.
No. If you're either in the game or out of the game. We're in the game. We're at least being actively considered. That's the way I'm going to spin it.
You have not been completely dismissed yet.
Not completely. They haven't said no. We've gone on to the next round of the competition.
All right. Well, it's a semantic difference.
Still going.
No. It's being evaluated. It's
all right.
I always say it's easier to say no outright. It's always easier to just say no and be done with it.
Unless you have a stalker.
Wow. We're not there yet.
Are you sure?
We're not stalking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next step below stalker? Like persistent, extremely persistent.
No, I would say I'm extremely persistent. But very respectful.
Yet obsessed.
Not quite obsessed.
Come on. No. Nobody's
No,
listening. You can tell me.
No. Not quite obsessed.
Okay.
It is very important to me. It is a dream. It is a career highlight if it were to happen. But yes, we heard back from Amazon Prime today. Gave them a little nudge, and they said, "Oh, okay, we're gonna have you talk to our agency."
Yes, let's run this up the flagpole.
They're running up the flagpole. I am not going to let you steal my joy, Mark.
No, I'm here to enhance your joy.
No, you're here to harass me.
No, just add to the joy. That's my job here.
So all I'm saying is, it's not a no. It's not a no. We have been acknowledged, and it's now going up the chain, and we're getting some more consideration. And we have other people to bug now. But it wasn't a no. To all of you saw it wasn't a no.
In all of our years of doing this, you and I both know that once you get a response in the affirmative of we are looking at it,
That's right.
it's going down.
That's right.
9 times out of 10, it goes down.
Of all the times that we've ever reached out to Arnold Robinson, we have never gotten this far. Ever. It's usually a no inside of 30 minutes.
Well, it's like you've already won then.
You ever played that video game where you always get killed off at the same point? And then, or if you see the game, see the movie Edge of Tomorrow, and after a certain point you realize, well, what happens next? I don't know. I haven't gotten this far. I don't know what's going to happen next because we've never gotten this far. We are on at least step 2 of getting Eddie Murphy on this show.
It's like we mastered the cheat code and have gotten to the next level, and it's like,
now we may get a straight up no tomorrow. Who knows?
No. Let's stay in the affirmative.
But it was a good morning. It was definitely a good morning where we are still in the game, despite the naysayers like Mark, despite the naysayers. I get your messages. They say, like, you're not ever going to get him on the show. I know. I read what you say.
I mean, I see that look on Mark's face. It's full of
I know.
doubt. He's
No.
a doubting McDoubter.
I am blissfully happy for you because we're a team here, and if you're happy,
Doesn't
I'm
sound
happy.
like it.
I mean, no, more power to you. Keep going.
Other stuff we have on the show tonight, we have a Waymo and a Tesla self-driving update. One is good, one is bad. I'll let you figure out which is which. And the LA Times, they had a blistering editorial late last week on the Dodgers. And now other readers have weighed in. This is becoming more and more of a thing because it's too glaring to be ignored. I mean, if you know anything about the history of the Dodgers, if you know anything about what is still going on in LA, they had the raids in Santa Fe today. 2,000 more National Guard members, Mark Ronald will probably be talking about that at some point, have been sent to LA. Don't know when they're going to arrive, but I'm saying we may go through this again this coming weekend. Still, the Dodgers haven't said anything, and yes, people are taking notice of it. So I'm going to read some of the letters that were sent to the LA Times to give you a sense of the temperature right now. And remember that guy, Edwin Castro, who won $2 billion in the lottery? He's still buying property, and I'm not so sure I'm okay with it. We're going to tell you about how he's been buying up property in Altadena. and it doesn't quite sit right with me, but we'll get into that before the hour is over. And have you heard about the Netflix house, where Netflix is kind of opening up the Netflix experience, where you can experience titles that you've seen on Netflix, but in a real, tangible way for a price, of course. And speaking of like experiences, Disneyland ride-along videos are coming to Disney Plus. So if you can't actually get on the ride, you can sort of just watch it at home going through the ride, and you get it. No? Okay, we'll talk about that as well. I know Mark was looking at me like, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious.
It sounds like great fun. Is it like those things you see on Instagram where like a dad puts his kid in a laundry basket in front of a TV with a roller coaster and he starts tipping it back and forth to replicate the feel?
You're probably very warm.
Okay.
Yeah, you get to see someone first person on the ride. And Tom Cruise is going to get his Oscar thanks to us. Wait. Well, kind of, sort of. He's getting an honorary Oscar. But it is an Oscar. And I want to think that we had something to do with it. Just a small bit, even though Mark likes to mock us regarding that. And Nick Poliokini is going to join us in studio with the latest of what's going on in Southern California and where he's been, what he's doing. And no, Twala, we're not doing this story. We're going to save it for Thursday.
No,
We're going to save that one for Thursday. It's better suited coming behind. I mean,
Coming
after
through?
the sex doctor. We'll talk. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away. But I will say my final thought tonight is going to have to do with Amazon and a memo which was released to its employees earlier today, where the president of Amazon basically said, a lot of you won't be with us next year because we're firing most of you due to AI. You have been replaced. Maybe he didn't use those words, but he pretty much used those words.
That's the translation I got.
Oh, absolutely. Can't wait to talk about that and make Mark really mad before the show's over, because it proved everything that we've been saying. Everything.
Looking forward to it.
It's AI is inevitable, and you're not going to like it, Mark. You're going to go kicking and screaming into the 21st and a half century.
Well, you know why I don't like it? Because no rational person likes it.
No, I don't hate it.
I said rational person.
Hey, Stephen, do we need to have his mic on during the news break? Can he do it just yelling from a different studio?
Fair enough.
Okay. Mr. Mo Kelly, we're live on YouTube. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We have a Waymo update and also a Tesla update. It's good news for Tuala, bad news for Tesla. Waymo announced that they're expanding their service further into Los Angeles and San Francisco. Starting today, Waymo will roam more than 120 square miles of LA County, from Santa Monica downtown to West Hollywood to even Inglewood. The expanded service area will include Playa del Rey, Ladera Heights, Echo Park, Silver Lake, and the entirety of Sunset Boulevard. So if you plan to cruise in Hollywood, go up and down the Strip, you will start seeing Waymo taxis anywhere and everywhere. It's moving in a good direction for them. And also, Waymo is poised to expand to Miami, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. And starting today, Bay Area riders will have expanded access to the San Francisco Peninsula, Mountain View, Palo Alto, and Menlo Park. And if Waymo is expanding, you would think that Tesla would be on that same trajectory, since Tesla has been in the self-driving aspect of car technology longer than Waymo, which started off as part of the Google/Alphabet project. Now, what's happening with Tesla? Well, we haven't heard too much about their self-driving technology as far as their taxis go. But if I told you that a Tesla private owner was using it on self-driving mode, it directed him to a train track, got stuck, and then got hit by a train. A Tesla Model 3 got stuck on a train track and was hit. It was more like grazed, but it was in self-driving mode. The Tesla driver reportedly claimed that the vehicle was in that self-driving mode, and that was the reason why it got stuck. So he is completely blaming it on the car not being able to navigate appropriately. Tesla has been selling a quote-unquote full self-driving package for up to $15,000. Wait a minute. Wait. I buy the car. and I have to spend another $15,000
Yep.
for a quote unquote full self-driving mode, but it still requires me as the driver to supervise the driving. It's not fully autonomous, and I'm still responsible for the car at all times. I get that from an insurance standpoint. But if I'm paying $15,000 for full self-driving, that isn't really full self-driving. Not that I want to be in the car, like in the back seat, like a Waymo while the car is driving. But how are you going to charge people $15,000 for an upgrade to your car, which is not even good as a Waymo?
Well, now I have a friend, my man Caesar, who has a Tesla, and when he did have his self-driving mode, he used it all the time, and he absolutely loved it. It would take him exactly where he's going. You do have to be in the front seat, but he was like, I didn't have to have my hands on the steering wheel. I could be, checking text messages, doing whatever. You do want to monitor and keep your eyes on the road.
Is that legal?
While it's in self-driving mode, yeah. With Tesla, it is.
No. Is it legal for you to be checking your text messages while it's in self-driving mode?
I guess, look, hey, look, Caesar, I'm sorry for busting you out if it's not legal, but
I don't know if you can do that.
Look, I'm just saying, like, he absolutely loved it. It would take him exactly where he wanted to go. It knew all of his, personal routes and things like that, avoided traffic. He loved it. But that extra, 15 on top of the cost, he was like, well, I don't love that much.
I have to wonder, and I'm just thinking out loud, beyond just texting, if you were in the back seat and you were having a drink and the car is driving, how liable are you as far as DUI?
Interesting.
Because you're liable for whatever happens to the car driving, but could they bust you for DUI if you're not actually driving the car and you're in the back seat?
Or even if you're in the passenger seat.
Right.
Now,
right.
I'm wondering, and I will ask him, I think with Tesla's self-driving mode, you still have to have a body in the driver's seat. I think that's
okay.
part of their self-drive. The car will drive itself, but you have to be in the driver's seat almost to reassure the car that if anything happens, you can take a hold of the steering wheel.
Yeah, I got to wonder, though. I mean, I don't know where the law begins and ends. We're in this really gray area, and maybe the law is, well, you are still responsible for the car. You are, quote unquote, driving the car, even though it may be in self-driving mode. So therefore, you are operating it under the influence. Ergo, you're driving under the influence. I don't know, but I would love to hear from like a lawyers as to how much culpability, whether they could actually stick that to someone.
I wonder if you can then, in that instance, can you drink in a Waymo? Like, say if you're going to a ball game or you're going to a concert or whatever, and you and your friends want to, get some beverages on the way, and you want to just drink while you're in the car.
Well, if I can't drink in a Waymo, then what's the point?
That is true.
What is the point? Why am I getting someone to drive me somewhere? Obviously, because it's a third party. It's Waymo. It's not me. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that I don't control the car and I'm in the back seat. You're saying I can't have a beverage?
You have to be able to have a beverage.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I have a Waymo picking me up from Dodger Stadium, for example, since we were talking about the Dodgers a little bit earlier, when we were talking about the Dodgers in the next segment, I'll be damned if I'm going to get in a Waymo or even an Uber for that matter, and Stefan's driving. There's no way Stefan's going to tell me, excuse me, you can't have alcohol in this car while I'm driving. Bump that. Stefan, how many drunk people have you had?
Too many to count.
All right. How many had an open container in your car?
I could probably count it on one hand, but it is not actually allowed. Unfortunately.
No, not allowed by Uber or not allowed by the law?
Well, according to Uber and the law. Because one time I had a girl and it was just a cup and we hit a bump and it spilled. And
it was just one girl, one cup?
Which she...
Yeah, y'all got that joke, huh?
I got that one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, it's so she spilled part of her drink and she got out. It smelled like alcohol, and I'm like, I can't pick the next person up because then they might think I'm drinking. And so I just reported it because it was like staining the because it was like a red, like I don't know what she was drinking, but it was really had a rich color to it. So I had to scrub it out, and then I guess they told me Uber replied to me and said, okay, we'll let her know, like, this is going to be a warning for her because you're not allowed to have it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't want to get her in trouble. I just needed the money to clean up the car.
Oh, Jonathan hits us in the Motown chat on YouTube and says, you can't have alcohol in a moving vehicle. Maybe not in California, but I know that there are other states in which you can. I'm almost positive because I know we did some of those stories, like the drive-through liquor store.
Yeah.
So I
Plus, now I see what you're talking about. Where does it begin and end? Because limos,
right,
Limos,
party
yeah.
buses, yeah,
Party bus, yeah.
that's a moving vehicle. So I don't know.
Is it with access to the steering wheel?
Maybe
That might be the difference. Well, I mean, even a party bus. I mean, you can reach out and touch the driver.
Or you can
depending
hand
on the
driver
Yeah.
a drink. You say, "Hey, driver, you want something?"
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, you
because
could
there's a
in theory.
partition.
Yeah.
With a limo and a party bus. I don't know, man.
Look, I need some lawyer to hit us up in, or somebody who's passed the bar, please, to hit us up in the Motown chat. Everybody's a lawyer these days. Look, I Googled it and it said this. I don't want your Google. I want someone who has a bar card.
According to Carnisha, you can drink in Louisiana.
In the car?
That's what she said on the chat. She's not keep telling us. She's telling the Momigos.
Carnisha, you need to elaborate. I mean, are you doing it legally or you just do it and no one stopped
Yeah,
you?
it's
Because I have a
just
lot of
some
friends who do
knowledge
stuff
thing,
they just
yeah.
assume you can do. Like, for example, you'll see people with like earbuds in the ear driving. And so I do it all the time. That's illegal. You can only have one
Yeah.
earbud in driving. So sometimes people just think they know the law. Carnisha says, yes, you can. Okay. In Louisiana. I'm just have to look that up. Because, I know down south they have different laws when it comes to drinking and driving. Because like we're talking about the drive-through liquor stores. I just don't know what it might be in California if I'm in the back of an Uber or the back of a Waymo. And of course, if I'm just like in Santa Monica, if I just have my solo red cup, how are you going to know? How are you going to know? My little thermos. There was this editorial by Dylan Hernandez in the LA Times on the 14th. And the title pretty much says it all. Cowardly Dodgers remain silent as ICE raids terrorize their fans. And it's a long piece, but I'll give you just some highlights and then I want to go to some of the responses. It goes on. The Dodgers boast that more than 40% of their fan base is Latino, but they can't even be bothered to offer the shaken community any words of comfort. How ungrateful, how disrespectful, how cowardly. Don't expect this to change. And according to Hernandez, the Dodgers sent a statement over saying, quote, we're not going to comment. And that's attributed to Dodgers Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer, Lon Rosen. It's going to get to be critical mass after a certain point for the Dodgers. I don't know how they will be able to navigate this moment because ICE raids are still going on. We have 2,000 more National Guardsmen coming to Southern California. You're not going to be able to just look away for any length of time. But here are some of the letters that were sent. Quote, I would like to thank columnist Dylan Hernandez for his piece on the Dodgers, yada, yada, yada. This is an abomination. I say this as a native Angelino and lifelong Dodgers fan. Like Dodger Stadium itself, I was born in 1962. I attended games before Fernando Valenzuela's arrival and can say unequivocally that he changed the Dodgers for the better, making it a team for the whole city and making the fan experience far more vibrant and entertaining. For 45 years, the Dodgers have benefited from the spirit and income stream that the Mexican-American and immigrant communities have given them. During last fall's victory parade, we heard a lot about how the Los Angeles fans, without exception, contributed to the World Series win. Hernandez is exactly right. The Dodgers' silence is a terrible betrayal of their fans' dedication and support. My heart broke a little Saturday to see so many Dodgers caps and apparel at the Whittier No Kings rally. In a better world, the Dodgers would encourage the use of their caps as a sign of solidarity among Angelinos and against the forces trying to destroy our city, and that is Lori Davies and Brea. Here's another one. I want to sincerely thank Hernandez for his recent column. His words cut through the noise, calling out the hypocrisy that many have chosen to ignore for far too long. But I also write to ask that we remember this violence didn't begin with ICE. Before federal agents targeted our neighborhoods with raids, and before the Dodgers organization chose to visit President Trump at the White House, this same corporation played a direct role in the forcible removal and destruction of 3 thriving Mexican-American communities, Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop. My family, the Arechigas, was among those violently displaced to make way for the stadium, talking about Chavez Ravine. This wasn't just a corporate land grab. It was a coordinated act between the city of L.A. and the Dodgers organization. Together, they demolished our homes and erased our communities. The Dodgers continue to profit off the land through promotions and nostalgia. She goes on, but it's Melissa Arechiga of Los Angeles. You get the gist of it. And this from Rob Jacobs. The Dodgers could make an impact by marching up to an ICE facility in their team uniforms and demanding that ICE and the Marines and National Guard leave. Such a demonstration would be impossible for Trump to ignore and could help lead to the withdrawal of the forces now terrorizing our community. I don't agree with that. No. But he goes on. At the very least, it could help restore the tarnished image the Dodgers now have. Rob Jacobs in L.A. I don't get too much into symbolism, but I do say this has tarnished the image of the organization. And after a certain point, they're not going to be able to buff it out, as they say. Just one more real quick. As a lifelong Dodgers fan, I sadly have to agree with the shocking silence of the club's management in terms of support for its community of loyal fans, especially those of Latino heritage who have been unfairly demonized and terrorized over the last several weeks. It's gutless and cowardly. The team of Jackie Robinson and many courageous others must do more. I, for one, will do my part by not attending any games this year. Rather, I will forego spending the hundreds of dollars that I annually spend on tickets, parking, and concessions, and will donate those funds to local charities and community organizations that will better use the support. History is still watching, and that's William W. Carter in Newbury Park. And I didn't think for a moment that I was the only one thinking this. I didn't think that I was the only one talking about this, but I think that I might have been the only one who was highlighting that this was not going to go away. This is not something that you can release a statement and that will be the end of it. This is not something where you can, pay for a commercial and say the Dodgers stand with the community. You can't do that because the Dodgers heretofore always took a stand. The Dodgers heretofore always had something to say. And after a certain point, your fans expect you to have something to say in moments just like these. Does it mean that they'll lose season ticket holders? Does it mean that they will have gone too far and they won't be able to get these fans back? I don't know. I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but I do know that people are going to remember this and remember this for quite some time. It's not too late for the Dodgers to release a statement and at least acknowledge the importance of a moment. And it may not be enough for everyone. I'm quite sure fans will want them to say, you need to pick a side. You need to support those who've supported you for the past 40 years or so since Fernando Mania. I get all that. It's not for me to figure out for the Dodgers how to navigate this moment. I do know that if they don't, they will do irreparable harm to the Dodgers' name. It's later with Mo Kelly. I got to tell you, I'm usually not a hater, but I'm a hater on this one. I am a hater. I'm just telling you up front, I am a hater when it comes to Edwin Castro. You may remember he paid $2 for a lottery ticket and, he hit the jackpot, the literal jackpot. Back in 2022, he won $2.04 billion. He took a lump sum of like $630 million after taxes, which meant he had probably 1.3 million. It's about 50% tax rate. And he immediately started making huge purchases. He spent $25.5 million on a 13,000 square foot mansion in the Hollywood Hills. A week later, he paid $4 million for a 5-bedroom house in Altadena for his parents, and that's key, in Altadena. So he has a connection to Altadena. His real estate company, Black Lion Properties LLC, just want to put it out there just in case you happen to be looking for it. His real estate company recently purchased 12 different Altadena lots. I didn't say houses. I'm just talking about the lots, ranging from $530,000 to $950,000. Now, if you've ever driven through Altadena, you could not buy a house at $530,000. So he's getting this dirt cheap.
Pennies on the dollar, I promise you.
I suspect it is what they call it is a land grab, and he's a vulture preying on this community. And from what I understand, he's already familiar with the community because he's already bought property prior to this moment. Like it lists all the addresses, but the range is like there's one property for $950,000. I should say one lot of, and listen to the size of this lot, 23,000 square feet, $950,000. He could put a tiny home on it and he could sell it for $1.6 million. There's one for 21,740 square feet. Purchase it for $800,000. 16,000 square feet. Purchase for $878,000. So I don't know, other than seeing an opportunity and is taking advantage of people. And you can say, well, they sold it to him, but Twala, you know better than I do the duress and stress that people are selling these properties or just walking away from them.
Absolutely, because one thing about Altadena people need to remember is that a lot of the home ownership in Altadena, a lot of these homes are owned by our elders. A lot of these are owned by individuals who, when I say they lost everything in the fire, I mean everything, all paperwork, all everything, anything that they had. A lot of these residents don't have things backed up in digital files and this, that, and the other. And a lot of them, they don't have or did not have the proper insurance. And so the idea of being in your late 60s, 70s, and 80s and rebuilding a home, it just does not make sense. So he's taking advantage of individuals who really aren't seeing many options, especially in a city where so much help that's supposed to be there, so many resources that are supposed to be there helping individuals navigate this, they don't exist. There are very few organizations still around. A lot of the work that I'm seeing being done is being done by individuals in the community. Zaire Calvin, who we've had on the show before, has become a spokesperson for the city of Altadena, constantly trying to tell people, hey, here's where you have to go, here's where you have to go, here's where you have to go. But he does not work for the city officially, so it's just people in the community helping out. Individuals like Edwin Castro, who's using his money, who may see these homes for sale signs. He's getting these homes for pennies on the dollar. He's giving them what they're asking for, not what the properties are worth.
But let's make that distinction. Yes, they may ask for $950,000, for example, and when you just lost everything, that may seem like a good idea. But like I said, you can put a tiny home on a lot of these lots, and you can sell them for 1.5, 1.6 million.
Easily. A lot of the properties on my street alone are valued at 1.8 and higher.
Okay, then. All right. I was undervaluing it.
And this isn't even higher up in Altadena. Some of these addresses he's buying in places where these properties are arguably worth closer to $2 million. So it's like he's getting over right now.
What bothers me, and Twala, you can put it in your words however you want. What bothers me is he is specifically profiting off the pain of people in this moment. And if you can say, and I'm just using Rick Caruso as an example, I'm not pointing at him. You can, any developer could come in and feasibly have done something similar, and the motivations are same. It's a profit motive, but you're taking advantage of people when they are most desperate. Look, if you've lost everything and someone's going to dangle, let's say $530,000 out there, as opposed to having to go through all FEMA and all the other hoops that I know that, Twala, you've been jumping through. I get it. But you're taking advantage of people when they are at their fundamental weakest point. And that bothers the stuffing out of me.
He is no different than those same vultures that were coming around at the early onset of people going back and assessing their properties. And you had individuals walking up with business cards to people who are looking at the smoking husks of their once beautiful homes, and now it's just a burnt pile of ash, and saying, hey, if you're interested in selling your property, here's my card. Trying to prey on people when they're at their weakest, when they don't see a way up. I absolutely stand against moves like this. And look, he can do whatever he wants to do with his money, but being from allegedly Altadena, he should know better. He should know that this is not the way that you should be doing things in the community of Altadena.
This goes back to what Mark says, and I hate quoting him. It's never enough. It's never enough. You got $628 million from the lottery, and you're just buying up property for the hell of it when you could be helping people on some level. But no, it's more a profit-making opportunity. And then, all I know is if I had that money, I would never do anything like that. And unfortunately, it seems like the people who do win that money never seem to be of the mindset of helping anyone but themselves. And and I hear the stories. You've heard the stories about how much money he spends on personal security. Well, he's maybe created his own prison for himself because he's not winning over people at this point. He's not making new friends, not at all. AFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube. And there's a very spirited discussion and debate going on in the Motown chat. There are those who are of the opinion, as we were talking about last hour, about what we would call the vulture, Edwin Castro, buying up these properties on a discount in Altadena. And there's some who think, well, what's wrong with that? People could have turned down the offer. They had a choice. They didn't have to sell. They could have held out for another offer. That's the debate going on in the chat. And I don't want to get too far sidetracked because I want to start getting angry, because when people profit off other people's pain, I have a problem with that. So right now, if you can join the chat and weigh in and put your 2 cents in that discussion. Right now, we're going to move on to Netflix. I don't know if you've heard about these Netflix house locations, which are opening this year. And today they gave some more details about these retail stores, which are coming to various areas around the country, like Philadelphia and Dallas. They'll have one in Las Vegas in the next 2 years. And these Netflix houses will sell merchandise and food based on Netflix shows. And they'll have immersive activities from series like Wednesday and Squid Game, which are Netflix properties. Mm-hmm. Netflix house at Galleria Dallas, I don't know where that is, will have a game room and immersive experiences based on Stranger Things and Squid Game. The Netflix house in Houston, the Netflix house in Las Vegas will be on the Boulevard. It be at Boulevard on the Strip. Now, here's my only question. Now, how easy would it be to, I'll say, reconfigure these houses as the properties get older? In other words, this is Stranger Things last season. Uh-huh. In a year or so, people won't be checking for Stranger Things like that, I don't think.
Now, I believe that they'll be able to flip it easily, because when they have the Netflix experience in downtown LA, they flip it and move it around all the time. And it's amazing how they reconfigure it from when they did Squid Games versus Stranger Things. It's the same property, but it's like they just flip it and just, it's almost like Hollywood set makers and designers and all, they come through and just reimagine it. Yeah, okay. So I'm sure it's got to be easy.
I like that businesses like Netflix, they're thinking beyond just what they do. And they've always done that. When they were doing DVDs, they said, oh, what about streaming? And they got into streaming before a lot of these other places did. And now that everyone's on streaming, say, well, what's the next thing? And they're already looking at this. And I would liken it to Hard Rock Cafe, where you have an experience connected to a brand that you know. And then you will start looking for these places in just about every city. I can see where they're going with this. It's not like an amusement park, but it's a thematic experience.
I understand why they are rolling these out, because my co-parent and my daughter, they've gone to both the Stranger Things and the Squid Games activations in downtown LA, and they love it. They love the experience, and this is something that every time they go, they're like, "Oh, it's packed. Oh, it's absolutely crowded." So if Netflix, and we see if Netflix is as smart as we know they are now, they've said, "Hey, let's make this permanent. If we're getting this much traffic and people are taking this much interest, and we know being Netflix, we can reshape it however we want based on what's hot on Netflix. Let's go."
Netflix House, there are 40 experiences and they're in 300 cities. So they're doing this. They're going all out. They've partnered with brands and retailers on clothing, toys, lotions, and snacks based on the show. Yeah, I would love to go to one just to see how expansive, how inventive it may be, because you will have, and the reason I asked how quickly could they like reconfigure it, they'll have a new Netflix series every single year, most likely.
Yeah.
That's very popular. And if you could just keep integrating it to your various locations, yeah, I get it.
And think about it, small scale. This is a nationwide now theme park for the most part, because you have these large size activation venues. And if you put one in every major city in the US, Netflix is actually encircling like a Disneyland, saying, we don't have to worry about people spending, their life saving to come in for one experience with y'all. Well, we have these things every city, everywhere, and it's easy for us to put them up, change them around, and keep getting traffic in. So that's how Netflix as a streaming platform is like, yeah, we can get on Disneyland's level if we space out what we do.
Yeah. And I guess the truest sentiment is when other streamers like a Disney Plus might start doing something similar, where you have these themed, I don't want to call it an attraction, but event places where you can feature your own intellectual property and have people kind of participate in it. Yeah, I can see it. It makes great sense. And Netflix is, again, out in front of everyone. It's one of the reasons why it dominates streaming. And we have another story about streaming later on, how streaming has eclipsed broadcast and cable combined as far as viewership. So, yeah, this is the future. And if Netflix continues to be at the forefront of everything which is televised entertainment, then they will continue to win.
Yeah. And Netflix, much to Mark's chagrin, is investing heavily in AI production and development. So they are working on being able to churn out high quality shows for less money by cutting out a lot of the back end work with AI. I know, Mark, I know you hate to hear it, but I'm saying that's how
you can antagonize me all you want.
I'm not trying to
That's not going to make it anything other than garbage.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Nobody wants AI. Nobody.
That's not true.
I don't know.
Except the people who stand to profit from it. Want it. That's it.
There's somebody, and unfortunately, those somebodies often are the decision makers and have the future and fate of people's livelihoods in their hands.
It's going to get rejected. The people who watch, read, and listen to things don't want any part of
that's
that garbage.
Casting. No, that's wish casting. You're making a qualitative judgment on the value of what AI can produce. But the quantitative judgment, as far as how much money it can save businesses, means that there will always be a market and desire for AI.
Well, it's not wish casting. It's observation and critical thinking, which leads to the judgment.
No. You're saying, when you say nobody wants this, if nobody wanted it, it would not be integrated in our lives already.
If people wanted it, they wouldn't have to try so hard to force it on us, and that's exactly what they're doing.
We'd be forcing it on you. It's on your phone right now.
I don't want it, and I'm not buying the new phone that's got AI on it.
Oh, so in other words, you're never going to buy a new phone.
I'm just saying, Mark, after a while, your phone won't work. After a while, you just won't have a phone. You'll just be like a caveman writing letters.
As impressed as I am with this, it's going to happen, so you might as well lie back and enjoy it. Philosophy of yours, I will never buy that.
I'm not Bobby Knight.
I will never buy that.
I'm not Bobby Knight. I'm not saying just lay back and enjoy it.
You are the Bobby Knight of KFI.
No, I am telling you that because something is inevitable, to at least wrap your mind around it and see how it could best suit you in your life.
Yes.
In other words, it's almost like worrying about death. It's inevitable. All right. It is inevitable. Now, I can make a choice about the quality of life that I'm going to live between now and then. I mean, no one likes to think about it. And we can try to say, I'm not going to live my life in fear. But the bottom line, it's going to come for all of us at one point.
Yeah, death is inevitable. AI is not. The only thing AI has in common with death is that it represents the death of creativity. And human consumers want no part of it.
But not all business is predicated on creativity.
It's going to get rejected widespread. And you can push it on people all you want, but people don't want it.
I sent you last night a very funny new vlog, the Stormtrooper vlog. And that's all AI. I sent it to you because I wanted you to see how someone is creatively using AI to put together these hilarious Stormtrooper vlogs. And it is high comedy and it's high production value and it's all AI. There's like really no people in these. It's just AI.
People are shunning anyone who tries to.
Who is shunning?
Just for one example, the whole comics industry. If they suspect that you've used AI to put out a comic, you are absolutely
Mark,
called out and shunned.
Mark, the comic industry is dying.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it.
It's just one example. I'm telling you.
It's a bad example. It's a bad example. The comic industry is not a good example to rest your case on in an industry that's dying, in an industry where comic shops, by and large, are dying, where the largest distributor of comic books has done what, Mark? They went bankrupt.
Yes, and AI is not going to help them any.
It would if it cuts back on the cost of production,
yes,
and getting things out on time and all of that. It absolutely would.
No reader wants to look at AI art. No reader wants an AI story.
How can you speak for everybody?
I don't know, Mark.
Look,
it sounds like it's
there are people.
Everybody.
Let's talk about it from a music standpoint. Okay,
yeah, nobody wants that.
We just came from the music industry. I mean, not just came, but we did come from the music industry. That's like saying no one wants to listen to AI music. Yes, they do. The whole time when they had that Drake sounding song with The Weeknd, whatever, people will eat that up. They don't care. It's not about high quality. You think anyone listens to the radio talk about, well, that's not high quality.
Well, people have eaten Tide Pods too. That doesn't make it good. It's not quality stuff.
No, Mark, you're juxtaposing two things that don't have anything to do
is that
with
right?
Each other.
Okay.
They don't.
AI is the Tide Pod of art. Go ahead and eat it if you want. I don't want to.
But evidently there was a market out there because there are thousands of kids who are eating Tide Pods, even though it wasn't necessarily the best choice to make.
Tide Pods.
Mark, I don't know, Mark.
No, I know about Mark. There's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him.
Your argument is
look at what you two swine are defending. Look at it.
It's swine. Hey, Stefan. We're not going to have a news break. We're just going to keep on rolling to the next segment.
You don't have to listen to them.
We don't need to listen to Mark for another 15 minutes.
We're well into news time right now, and I'm in command. Go to news, Stefan.
Why?
No!
Don't listen to him.
Come back.
Do not listen to him. We have to do the news.
No, we do?
Yes.
No, I have to toss to you for you to do the news.
Well, start tossing, you tosser.
All right. KFI AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly. Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about streaming viewership.
Damn it.
Okay, let's go to the news.
Okay.
The chat is hot on YouTube in Motown. The Mo Migos are going at it. Let me give you something else to argue about. Disneyland is bringing ride-along videos directly to subscribers on Disney Plus. Starting next month. There are 16 immersive point-of-view experiences, including Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones Adventure, Hollywoodland, Haunted Mansion, and others, which will premiere on Disney Plus on July 17th in honor of Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Nick Poliokini will probably have some thoughts on that. He'll walk us through it.
I was going to say, if you want to just save some time,
Come on.
This Weekend with Nick on Instagram, and you can see those ride-alongs already. So
give us some insight as far as how they're being received, what you experience. Come with it.
I think it's been great. Now, this is one of those things that Disney, and I just literally posted an event that I'll be talking about next hour that I attended last night. But Disney has always been very, very secretive of not wanting people to share all of these things because they really want you to go to the park. And I think something that I have been a supporter of, and a lot of people have been, but are especially Disney's finally jumping on the bandwagon with it, Disneyland is not a place that everyone can visit. So to be able to get that firsthand experience and knowledge, and I think not to after Mark being so sassy last break, but he did bring up the right point that Disney in and of itself is one of those organizations that does things that benefit it, but it's something that's just available for. And I lost my train of thought when Mark he had said something specifically regarding this that you'll be able to get in there and that was it. The little kid in the laundry basket. I've seen that forever. In fact, the funniest thing is I've done it with my nieces. And that's why I say you can go to This Weekend with Nick or Nick Poliokini on Instagram. You can literally see my two youngest nieces in a laundry basket and doing exactly the same thing. So I think it's funny. And in the world of Peloton and all these different applications that are health-based, I think it's a really great option because you could walk through Disneyland. It could be something that you could move toward getting your rings closed if you're an iOS user or, if you're tracking your health. So I think it's a great thing. I just think that Disney, who always does absolutely incredible things, really, really sometimes waits a little too long. And I'm glad that it's coming for the 70th on July 17th. But still, this is something that, myself and other people who are in the media and or content creators or influencers have been doing for a good period of time.
These POV walkthroughs that you mentioned coming to Disney Plus, Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones, Radiator Springs, Incredicoaster, Haunted Mansion, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Cars Land, Pixar Pal Around, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Jungle Cruise, Soaring Around the World, and on and on and on. I wonder, though, does it take some of the magic away?
Oh, for sure. I think that's always going to be the situation. But it's just like even so last night, and I'll talk more about it, but I went to one of the special Disneyland After Dark events last night. I will be there again tomorrow night. But I filmed one of the parades. And while the parades and the entertainment offerings at Disney are those specific things that people seek it out for, it doesn't matter how good it looks on film. It looks 5 times better in person. So whether I like it as a preview. So I think it's something that Walt Disney Travel should have been doing for years is sending these POV videos to be like, can you wait? You can't wait to be on Jungle Cruise, as you're seeing right now. If you're following Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube, you can see exactly what it's like to be on the backside of water. I mean, as silly as that sounds. So it's very specific to being able to really connect and have a thing. So for me, I think it's a great advertising opportunity that has been missed for decades by not sharing some of this stuff out. I understand if you don't want to show start to finish. I totally get that. But also in person will always be better no matter what the situation is. And you can speak to that, having gone to theater, having gone to film, having gone to anything. Always in person is always going to be the optimal and the best way to do it. But it's a great tease to be able to see this and be like, oh, wow, I can't wait to be on Pirates of the Caribbean.
I wouldn't call it a morbid curiosity, but I do have some curiosity to see some of these rides that maybe only went on it once, or maybe I want to explain to someone else, or maybe I just want to give relatives who are in town just a sampling of what the experience of Disney is like. Because to your point, it's sometimes cost prohibitive.
Sure.
And it's time prohibitive. I remember I went 2 years ago and I said, I can't do all this in one day. It's not possible.
Exactly. And the thing, too, is even though they have multipass, which used to be called Lightning Lanes, and then they used to be called Fast Passes at one point in time, even with that, you're not going to be able to get it through. And there's a handful of influencers and a handful of content creators who specifically have documented the number of days. I want to say it's at least a day and a half per park to be able to get through absolutely everything. So it's being able to go, hey, I'm going to go to Disney California Adventure because I want to go to Avengers Campus because I'm a huge fan of Marvel, but then my kids want to go to Toontown over at Disneyland. So now we're going to look at at least 3 days that you're going to need to be able to get through. And then you're just talking about one land in each of those two parks.
One land, yes.
So it's a whole different ballgame where you're trying to figure this out. So I think this is great. And also, a lot of times you can be able to check it out and be like, that looks really cool, but you know what? I don't need to put the time in for it.
Right.
So, you got that tease, you got all the incentive, but now you've actually honed to where you want to go and how you want to approach it. So I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's something, again, that's been missed for far too long.
All right, Nick, we don't need you at 9 o'clock. You've already done your whole
spiel. That's fine.
So you can
Have
go
a great
home
night.
Now.
I'll see you next time.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, we have hit a momentous moment here. Streaming has overtaken cable and broadcast television for the very first time. And we'll give you some of the statistics when we come back. And you may not remember, but very early in my tenure here on KFI. It was around the time in which I started the Mo Kelly Show, which was 2012. I had talked about cutting the cord. And at the time, people were like, what? You're not watching broadcast TV? You're not watching cable TV? And I actually put up a blog post about the steps about getting a digital antenna so you can get your local channels, all that. I was an early adopter. Usually I'm late to things, but when it came to cutting the cord, I was an early adopter, and it changed my life. The only thing which would have helped me cut the cord earlier would have been being able to find a way to watch my sports on TV, live sports, because back in the early days, there wasn't a way to watch live sports other than like going to a bar or something. The licensing agreements were not in place. And then Sling TV came along, and they had ESPN and Fox Sports and different packages. And I said, oh, I'm done. I got rid of DirecTV and never looked back. And I have been a big proponent of streaming. I can have my TV anywhere. You know, if I have something that's a DVR, or I have all my apps, I can watch on my phone. I can watch on my tablet. I can watch a laptop. I can cast from my phone to a screen in my house. It is absolutely wonderful if you haven't already made the switch. Now, for the first time, streaming viewership has overtaken both cable and broadcast television. Streaming platforms accounted for 44.8% of all viewership in the month of May. This is according to Nielsen, so it must be true. Compared to 24.1% of viewers who watch cable and 20.1% who watch broadcast television. Don't get me wrong. I have a favorite broadcast television show like Chicago PD, Law and Order, SVU, and I think that's about it as far as broadcast television. Mark, are you watching anything on broadcast television?
You know, now that you bring this up, there's not a single broadcast show that I tune into every week. I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, and I don't even watch it every week. I just sort of like let my DVR just accrue a bunch of episodes, and then I'll sit home on a given Sunday and watch them all, binge them all.
Yeah, the only thing that I watch with any regularity is just all the news that I can possibly hoover up, and that doesn't really count.
The whole idea of appointment watching simply does not exist anymore. I can't tell you what night Chicago PD comes on. I think it's maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I don't know.
Yeah, it's prehistoric to imagine the time when we were kids or our parents were in their prime. They had to stay home to catch a show they wanted, and if they missed it, they were never going to see it again.
Depending on how old you are or are not, there were these things called reruns. And you would, if you missed your episode of whatever, and these were back when TV seasons had maybe 22 episodes. Imagine that, 22 episodes. And if you missed it, you'd have to wait for months for it to come back around, and you might be able to see it. But the problem was you wouldn't know. I mean, you had the TV Guide, which is a magazine of what was coming on that week, but you couldn't go on IMDb or look some other website and find out when an episode was going to air. You just didn't know.
The TV Guide was the top-selling magazine in the United States, and people would get their TV guides in the mail and go through them and circle what they planned to watch. It was adorable.
My father's grandmother, would buy her TV Guide, also got a Reader's Digest, and we'd mark them up as far as what we wanted to watch, and this was pre-VCR. What's a VCR? This is what we did in the analog days to record television shows. So if you missed it, you just missed it, and you were just SOL. And then as technology got better, we had the VCR, the video cassette recorder, and we could start recording some of our shows, but we still didn't have the autonomy to record anything and everything because you just didn't know what was going to be the subject of an episode. And if you missed it, you have to catch it on rerun, which was very hit and miss. And then cable came along and was a little better, but not like streaming, where you could find any episode anytime you want. You missed it, so what? You can find it. You can go on Hulu and get the back episodes. You can go on Disney Plus and get the back episodes. I don't think kids now know how good they really have it as far as the television, what was called television, that experience. I don't know if they even have televisions anymore. They just have laptops and and their phones. I don't know how they watch TV on their phone. I got to cast it. My eyes are not good enough anymore.
No, we're so spoiled now. You can get anything. Nothing disappears. Well, almost nothing. But in the old days, the hunt was half of seeing a show.
It was. And even before they had VCRs, I remember when I was getting my tonsils out. True story. I was 5 years old, and Tuala's going to laugh at this because this is a real show. Did you ever see the movie Coming to America? And there's a character on it named Randy Watson. And one of the famous lines from Coming to America, when they introduce him, he sings The Greatest Love of All. And he's introduced as, he's Officer so-and-so from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. Most people don't know that That's My Mama was a real TV show in the early 1970s. I say that to say when I was in the hospital and I was getting my tonsils out, it was an overnight stay. I asked my sister to tape one of the TV shows that I'd like to watch. It was That's My Mama. But back then, all you could get was an audio recording. So she took an old style tape recorder. You push the buttons down, and it was you didn't even plug it in. You were recording the ambient noise of the TV. So the recording quality was absolutely horrible.
I did the same thing when I was a kid. I
There we
recorded
go.
TV shows.
And that was the only way you could record a TV show. And if it's a TV show that you were familiar with, it didn't matter because you know the voice, you know the character, you could, in your mind, make the facial expression. So it was good enough.
Not only that, people don't seem to remember what a Sophie's Choice it was back in those days because there were 3 networks and PBS. And if you wanted to watch 2 shows and they were on at the same time, you had to pick one. And
You had to choose.
And that was it. I'm sort of addicted to these collections that are on YouTube about shows from certain, each year in the past. And there's shows on there I've never heard of because once you made your commitment, like I said, you didn't see the other ones. And some of these things I've never heard of. So, pick a year, early 60s, 70s, 80s. These things are fascinating to me.
You had ABC, NBC, CBS. That was it. And yes, you had PBS, which was channel 28, but there wasn't programming content per se on Channel 9 KCAL. There wasn't programming content on KCOP Channel 13 or Channel 11. There may have been some cartoons early in the day, but they didn't have evening content for the most part.
I remember LA had a pretty cool set of UHF channels during the brief time I lived here as a young kid. And they would show like the same cult movie 5 nights a week. So like the giant robot Johnny Sacco movie or whatever.
It was 28 and 50.
Okay. But
KOCE.
I remember watching that all, like Kimba the White Lion was on there.
Yes, you get your evening cartoons. It was Kimba the White Lion, and there was something else I would watch as well, but it was at night.
Yeah.
And maybe it was Speed Racer, but it was Kimba the White Lion, definitely. But there wasn't a lot of programming, and TV went off at like maybe 9 o'clock, and then you'd have The Late Show or Johnny Carson, but then it went off, I think around maybe midnight, and you get the bars until 6 a.m.
Yes, the bars and the "Do you know where your children are" sign and all that stuff that does not exist anymore except on YouTube.
Yeah, and they played the national anthem. I think it was around 5:30 or 6 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 Live, everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We have a Tom Cruise for Oscar update. He's going to get his Oscar thanks to this show.
I hope he remembers to thank you.
I have a feeling he won't, but deep down inside, he knows the truth.
He must be in league with Eddie Murphy.
You're such a hater. You're such a hater. And when Eddie Murphy comes on this show, I'm going to make him address you and make a joke about you and talk about you or something, immortalize you in a very negative way.
Now, should I hold my breath waiting for this?
Look, we've waited some 12 years for Eddie on this show. So
okay. So
what's another 3 months?
Okay.
Okay, Tuala, explain to these folks, because Charger 55 in the chat seems to think that because Altadena residents agreed to the offer and accepted the offer, that they were not taken advantage of.
It's interesting, Charge 55, and while I can understand your train of thought and why you would think like that makes sense if the offer was made and people accepted, yes, but you have to understand when you are in your 70s and 80s and you actually have no help at all and you don't see any way out from the hole that you're in, any offer at the time, it seems like a godsend, and there's really not. You are taking advantage of people who don't know how to fill out paperwork. Believe it or not, I've sat in the FEMA Center and I've sat next to people who filling out this paperwork seems almost impossible for them. They don't know what else to do. So someone comes around and says, hey, you know what? I will take this property off your hand. I will pay you what it is you're asking for. They may think that is fine, but you're talking about people who arguably were already on a fixed income, were just living off of the income from their houses, don't really have any family, so to speak, to pass out. And I know this because I've talked to some of these people. I've talked to them. They don't have anyone there helping them. So when you look at all of that, you have to imagine that anyone that comes around with any type of help, it seems good, but if you're just giving someone pennies on the dollar, that is actually not helpful. You're talking about giving someone, I don't know, some $600,000 on a piece of property that's worth arguably $1.6 million. So that's taking advantage of, and especially when it comes in the form of a friend or someone who, hey, I'm from the city, and I'm here to help you out. That's not a help. That is taking advantage of, and Charger 55, if you're okay with that type of vulturism, okay, that's you. I see how you get down. It's okay. Do you. But it is still vulturism, and it is still taking advantage of the community.
There's something else. No developer is going to buy 12 properties within a given area unless they know they are getting it for a discount.
Getting it for a mass discount. Edwin Castro isn't the only one that's out there taking advantage of these individuals. There are a lot of other vultures that are already out there. He's just another one. He just happens to have the money to do so right now. Had he not, he would still be working at wherever he was working at before he bought that ticket and came up. Now to come back to the city and take advantage of? No, that's absolutely wrong. There's nothing okay with that. There's nothing okay with Edwin Castro or any of the other vultures who are out there with their business cards coming at people when they're crying, sitting in front of a piece of property that is smoking and saying, hey, I can help you out. I will take this off your hands. And that's the end of it? No. What ends up happening is you make it to the point where individuals who grew up in that city, who have family in that city, there's decades in that city, can no longer afford to live there. Because once an individual like Edwin Castro comes in and he takes advantage of what's going on out there, that is how gentrification works. That is how it all goes down. You may not get that. That may not be something that weighs on your heart or that you can even see, but that's what it is.
Make it real simple. The people who live there cannot afford to live there going forward.
Absolutely. And this is something that when you drive through the city and you see the Altadena strong signs, that is what they are fighting for. They are fighting to keep Altadena for the residents that live there, for the individuals, because if everyone on my street all of a sudden was to say sell their lot, and now they sell it at next to nothing. And the developer comes in and takes those properties and takes them from being even 1.5 million properties, puts a bigger house, new yard, all that, and takes them up to 2 something. Then it becomes a point where no one else can come in who's from Altadena that could live there. So all the people who've been displaced can't come back. That is what we are trying to get. We are trying to get the people who've been displaced to be able to come back. All right, on my street, there are still just 5 houses there, just 5 houses left. Everything else is a lot. We are hoping that the people who lived there before are able to come back, rebuild their homes, and return the community to what they were. That is what we are trying to fight for. Now, if you have someone who comes in and says, hey, don't worry about it, I'll buy this property for next to nothing, and then builds it up, then what? All right? 2 figures.
Tom Cruise and others, they're going to get their Oscar. Going to be honorary ones, but they're going to get their Oscars. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the organization behind the Oscars, said today that Tom Cruise, Debbie Allen, and Wynn Thomas, among others, will receive honorary Oscars at the 2025 Governors Awards. In addition, Dolly Parton will receive the Academy's Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award, and I probably mispronounced that. The Oscar statuettes will be presented in a ceremony for the 16th Annual Governors Awards on November 16th at the Ray Dolby Ballroom at Ovation Hollywood. Quote, This year's Governor's Awards will celebrate 4 legendary individuals whose extraordinary careers and commitment to our filmmaking community continue to leave a lasting impact. That's Academy President Janet Yang in the release today. And I say this because some people thought I was tongue-in-cheek as it related to Tom Cruise getting an Oscar for his stunt work along with his acting. I was being 100% serious. I was not joking at all. I think that if you are able to act while doing those stunts, and you're not doing cutaways, you're doing facial expressions, you're delivering dialogue, my belief is that is part of the acting performance, and he should receive due consideration for Best Actor. If you're just judging Tom Cruise on the strength of his delivering lines or playing Ethan Hunt, the character, from only what you hear, then I think you are selling him short. And that's why we started this hashtag Oscar for Tom Cruise, or as Twala would say, hashtag Tom Cruise for Oscar, whatever it is, either or. But we want to get Tom Cruise an actual Oscar for his acting talent, which I think is inclusive of his stunts. I'm not talking about getting him an Oscar for his stunts. I'm not talking about like a stuntman award. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about one of the top 4 categories for his work, because there are plenty of people who can play a secret agent. We could talk about Matt Damon. We can talk about, I don't know, Keanu Reeves. Any number of them over the years, Idris Elba, Daniel Craig. But they're not doing all the things that we see on screen, which are attributed to that character. Who has more of an undertaking, Tom Cruise or Matt Damon? No disrespect to Matt Damon. Tom Cruise or Daniel Craig? When we get to see Tom Cruise doing all the jumping out of the plane and running down the side of a building, how can that be excluded from Tom Cruise's performance? I'm being absolutely serious. He deserves consideration for an acting Oscar.
Especially when you consider that it's not just the action that he is giving us. He's not just living out every scene and not just cutting away. What Tom Cruise is doing is he's staying in character while doing it. While we are seeing his face, we are seeing the stress, we are feeling everything he's going through. That is why his films are so believable. In all films, in Top Gun, everything, it's just like, man, that's that dude in that cockpit. That makes the performance that much better. It makes us get deeper and deeper and deeper into what we're watching. It's not the same with other actors when you know it is a stunt performance. It's Tom Cruise actually takes us beyond the veil of believability and things like that. I think that alone is worth him getting an Oscar nod. And I believe wholeheartedly, I mean, you know, Oscar committee, you're welcome to join the Mo Migos and join the Motown and leave a comment and tell us we're wrong. But I believe
they always tell us we're wrong.
I believe that it's this show that got him in consideration, because there's a lot of people that deserve an honorary Oscar. But right now, Tom Cruise, yeah, that is because of the Oscar for Tom for Oscar campaign.
And when he gets his statuette for like Best Actor, I think he will be man enough to come on this show and give us our due credit, because I think he's a stand-up individual.
He'll thank you on the stage right then and there.
Who knows? Who knows?
I want to dedicate this award to Mo Kelly.
Hey, a month ago, no one thought we had a chance in the world of getting Eddie Murphy on this show, and we're one step closer.
Yeah, it wasn't that instant rejection.
That's right.
So we're still there.
They're all going to acknowledge exactly what they owe you.
You are mocking me now, but one day, you're going to have to bow down and acknowledge the power and strength of positive thinking.
Do you spend a lot of time fantasizing about me bowing down, Mo? I'm going to take that silence as a yes.
You take that silence forever you want to take it.
Right. I'm not following.
Look, all I'm saying is Tom Cruise is an honorable man. Tom Cruise, we know he stays out here. My co-parent is actually partied at, I believe it was Tom Cruise's house. Will Smith and Jada were there. It was a whole thing. They were on the dance floor getting it in. Tom Cruise is a cool dude. I think he's cool enough to say, you know what? Those dudes over on Later, yeah, Yeah, I need to come through and
Hang
make
on
sure
there.
that they
Hang
know.
on. Stop, please. What do you mean they were getting it in?
On the dance floor, getting it in, dancing.
It has more than one meaning, Mark.
Yes.
Golly, why do you got to make everything weird?
Well, we need clarification.
Okay.
Henry Uchiyama in the Motown chat says Scientology is not allowed to win an Oscar, talking about Tom Cruise. And I said, Will Smith is a Scientologist, and he won an Oscar for
That is
starters.
true. Yeah.
So just letting you know.
I mean, that automatically just disabuses that whole claim. I'm sorry.
Maybe
You know.
Mo, if you join the Church of Scientology, you'll get a higher caliber of guests.
Well, he has to come on the show and then personally invite me. We'll have that conversation.
And you'd consider it?
Well, we had on Nancy Cartwright of The Simpsons, Bart Simpson.
Would you consider joining? Would you go for an
Look,
orientation?
That's not what they do.
No, they don't do
Scientologists
that.
don't come in and just
And
say,
try to recruit you like that.
That's not what they do.
Nope.
Hostile witness, answer the question, please. Would you consider it if Tom Cruise personally tried to recruit you into the church?
I'd hear what he have to say, but he would be unsuccessful.
I see. Okay.
I would be respectful, just like when Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door, just like when Mormon on the missions come to my door. I'm respectful. I listen to what they have to say, and then I politely decline.
I see. Okay.
See, I took your question in which you're trying to mock me, and I answered it seriously. And now you're getting into Nick Paleokini's time, and you owe him an apology.
Well,
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app.
Yeah.
With Nick Paleokini. Nick, take it away.
Can we talk about the Later with Mo Kelly graphics that are so incredible? And now there's even a new one.
This new one for
If
you,
you're
Nick.
not following,
You got to be on the show.
YouTube,
So cool.
This is so sick. Daniel, thank you very much, sir. If you're not tuned into Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube, you definitely need to do that because you will get a whole lot more. And the thing that I want to take a dive into, obviously you can tell by my rainbow shirt if you are following us on social media, and you can also see me in person right now. It's Pride Month, and that's how we roll. And being a member of the Alphabet Mafia, I'm very much deep in it. And what I want to talk about is what I didn't get to talk about last week because we had a lot of heck going on here in Southland, and it's still going down. But I got to sit down and talk to Bruce Valanche, which was actually really, really incredible. And you and I, Mo, just got to talk about it briefly off air. One of the things we talked about specifically. So the tie-in here is the 1978 Christmas special from Star Wars.
Holiday special.
Holiday special.
Yes.
Because it was Light Day, right? Is that what it is? Is it
Yeah,
celebrating
something
Light
like that.
Day?
Yeah, Light Day.
Come on,
Light
don't
Day.
give me something like that.
No,
'cause
I'm saying I can't remember.
I was like, I'm not that person
Yeah.
with the Star Wars knowledge, but and so I got to talk to Bruce Valanche. The reason I sat down to talk to him is something I want to share with you guys. Is another opportunity, and I talked about it when they did a country concert, and now they are doing Dancing Queen. So this is GMCLA, Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles. Already talked about them here. An incredible group of individuals is what I'm going to say, because not just gay men or queer men. It is, if you are talented and you want to be a part, right? If you can sing and you want to be a part of the community, this is the group for you. And Bruce Valanche also is going to be receiving a special voice award recognition from them, but also he'll be performing because he was Edna Turnblad in the national tour of Hairspray. So he's kind of a triple threat. I mean, he will swear to you he cannot move, and he may be, have a couple of other things up his sleeve, but he is really, really incredibly talented. But going back to the special, the holiday special from '78. That was probably one of the more interesting conversations.
It was an interesting conversation for me when I met him because it was a retrospective and discussion about his writing it and the process. Okay. And no one thought it was good.
Including
nobody,
him.
Right.
Including
nobody.
him, very specifically him. And the thing that's wild to me, if you are not familiar with Bruce Valanche, I guarantee you have seen him. He has very distinct glasses that he wears. He has a very distinct...
Daniel will find a picture.
Yeah, I'm like, Daniel can probably throw it up, but he has like a page boy haircut to this day. And you'll actually be able to see my interview with him here shortly this week. There's Bruce Valanche. If you're following us, Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube, you can see him. Very distinct. He is very much known for his T-shirts, which are always snarky, political, something fun. His glasses are always a very popular thing. But he's just one of those people that is genuinely talented and just really funny. Period.
He wrote the Oscars show for, I don't know, like a decade or so.
Years.
14 years. There you go.
So he's been a part of 23 telecasts, but he was the head writer for 14 of the 23 telecasts.
And
wild.
And one of the funniest people you will ever meet.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. He's just naturally funny. In fact, I don't want to steal a story that a friend of mine shared with me who is the daughter of a very, very famous actress and comedian and a singer. She actually got her period the day that Bruce Valanche and a bunch of other comedians were hanging out at their house. So even just that, and he was so cool. And she when I told her that I was going to be talking to him, she's like, "Oh my gosh, you have to ask him about me getting my period." I'm like, that's really good.
That's a very
distinct
oddly
thing.
specific. Yes,
very specific, and it worked out beautifully. And it was a very good memory that he had of it as well. So anyway. Gay Men's Chorus Los Angeles is a huge opportunity. They have the AMP program, which is their outreach program that they specifically bring music programs to schools around the Southland and beyond. They also will be having their gala. So this weekend, Saturday at 7 o'clock is the concert and 8:30 is the gala if you would like to attend. And they also have a matinee at 3:30 on Sunday. I will be in some way, shape, or form a part of all of those things. And again, you'll be able to see in conversation with Nick on YouTube here soon, and as soon as I get it up, I will pass along the details to Mo and the crew, and they can pass along the details where you can actually see me talking to Bruce.
Do you know if the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles, whether they still perform down at Christmas Eve?
Yes.
At the
They still do the mission or whatever, not the Midnight Mission, but they do a different organization in downtown for Christmas.
Yes, it's on like KCET. I can't remember it. It's down at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion.
Correct. And so what's funny, this is at the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills, but yes, they do still do that holiday show at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. In fact, which is interesting. I found out in the most recent time talking to a lot of the members, including Doc EJ, who is the music director and the conductor. Their season starts with their holiday show, which is very interesting. A lot of times you'll start something else and you'll end with a holiday show. They actually end with their spring show and their gala, which is coming up. But the thing that we've talked about here before with them specifically, they want talent. It doesn't matter how you identify. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to hit home here is that it doesn't matter. This is a month about being prideful about ourselves and where we're coming from. And the thing like I was talking about with Stefan off the air is I'm a part of the queer community, the alphabet mafia, if you will, who happens to have fingers in every single other minority group. Now, granted, I understand I'm a white man. That's what you see when I walk in the door. Sure? Something like that.
Okay.
But
if you say so.
When you see that, I already understand the privilege that comes with that. But then you start to pull back some of the layers and you get a better idea on it. I still get the white man, benefits, but then now I'm a member of the queer community, which is another exciting thing I just posted on social media for This Weekend with Nick and Nick Poliokini. We're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the federal recognition of gay marriage. And that happened on June 26th, which was a Friday of the year that I got married. So I'm also coming up on my 10th wedding anniversary, which is July 4th.
And you're going to celebrate it where?
Chateau Le Mo. I hear they have this incredible whole shindig that goes down with the best firework display. And I guarantee, I have a very good feeling that you'll be sure and want to make sure that you tune in to Later with Mo Kelly.
And we're gonna have we're gonna have a lot of video content.
I think it's gonna be video content, special guests. I mean, Brian and I will both be there. Hopefully, we'll have a few more talent from here at KFI and a lot of local celebrities. Just like last year, we had one of the chefs who was there's a dessert competition.
Yep.
And Mo and I were just talking about it off air, and it is like the thing of legends. And so it's Mo's sister has won a couple of years. A friend named Big Mike, he also has won a couple of years.
Mike Downs
is coming back this year to hopefully reclaim his title. But I'm sorry, your sister.
My sister won last year. I think it was like an angel cake, but it had an American flag as you cut into it. I don't know how she did it.
These are the things that TikTok dreams are made of. Social media dreams are made of exactly the reveal. And I'll see if I can find it. And if I can, I'll post it and retag it or pull it back. But I know I carried it live last year. From the event, I was absolutely floored. It was an amazing time. So anyway, that's one of the things that's going on this week is that you can check out GMCLA at the Saban Theater. Again, Saturday at 7 o'clock and 3:30 on Sunday. If you want to attend the gala, you can always do that at 8 o'clock or 8:30 rather on Saturday. Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot and
Sure.
I'm going to give you a question to ponder during the break.
Okay, I'm here for it.
You have been to more than a few Dodger games.
I have indeed.
I know,
including Pride Night, which just came to pass on Friday the 13th. Yes.
That's right. Okay. And I'm going there. You know that we've been having discussions about whether the Dodgers organization has any responsibility, given they have a Pride Night,
right.
Given they have a Mexican Heritage Night. They acknowledge these communities.
Yes.
But against the backdrop of what's happening in LA right now with the ICE raids, they've said nothing.
Oh, I've got thoughts. Don't you worry.
All right. On the other side, It's later with Mo Kelly. Nick Poliokini joins us in studio. We're finding out what's up with Nick. KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. Mark Ronner with the news. Let's go back to Nick Poliokini. What else is up? I gave you some homework to do.
Yeah, do you want to start there?
Let's start there.
Let's start
Let's
there,
see
and then
where it
I'll
goes.
fill you in with the free 99 and the last call and all that good stuff.
I asked you before the
Yes.
break your thoughts about the Dodgers' handling of this moment.
Yeah.
You are a Dodger fan. I'm a
I
Dodger
am.
fan. We've been to more than a few Dodger games.
Yeah, we've been to a couple together. So
Correct.
that's what specifically. And the thing that, not to pull back the curtain of what we do off air here, but I won a Golden Mike and a regional and national Edward R. Murrow Award, specifically dealing with the last time something like this happened in 2023 with the Dodgers not doing something correctly and really
Right.
alienating a very large portion of the community involving, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which were featured on our special that we had. And also Beyoncé Knowles, who is a very well-known drag queen and a member of the Hispanic community, who was there on the day of Pride in that year. And it was the sisters who are huge. Some people may view them negatively, but they are a huge volunteer organization that does a lot, raising money and funds and everything for people, period, not just for the queer community or for the alphabet mafia, LGBTQIA+, however you want to look at it. They just do a lot for the communities they're a part of, and they're a huge part of Southern California. And so for me, it's really hard because I also have a huge background with Disney. And you can check out This Weekend with Nick or Nick Poliokini on Instagram. You have pictures of my husband, Brian, and I that were there last night. We'll be back at Disneyland, and we're going to be talking about that here briefly. But Disneyland After Dark Pride Nights were happening last night and tomorrow night. And another big, major company who, again, is doing certain things and kind of putting their money where their mouth is, but also not. And I think that's what's even harder because for us here in Southern California, especially those that were born and raised, Dodgers are a lifestyle. It's not just a sports team.
Yes.
And I think that
Yes.
it's the same thing if you want to look at the Raiders for football. Raiders are a lifestyle. That is something that people, they gravitate toward. And so I think that's the hardest part is Dodgers can put a, Hispanic Heritage Night out, El Salvadorian Heritage Night out, Filipino Heritage Night.
They do.
Every single
Yep.
one. And the reason that you have these is because you want to get butts in the seats at the stadium, especially when you have home games. And you have a lot of home games within baseball. But also, you want to find a way to reach out to the communities, the large communities who support you. Granted, it's a money grab, and that's why I was referencing the Rainbow Pride or Rainbow or Lavender money grab that happens every June. But that's it. It's so frustrating to not have those opportunities to really be able to feel comfortable with somebody that you support, not just with your hard-earned cash, but also with, how you dress, what you're doing. And because you have to remember, like Dodgers, Disney, they get really good licensing deals. So they're getting a lot of money on the back end. But I don't know about you, but I like a lot of stuff from Etsy. I like to make my own things.
Right.
So again, I'm going to that lifestyle of the Dodgers. And I think there is such an incredible group of people within the organization that really do back these communities that are there. And then there's a lot of people who just really get to sit on their beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills and not have to think about it. So I think that's the hardest thing for me is to have an organization that we put so much time, energy, and effort in, as well as a lot of money, and then not to see it back. And I think that's, again, be it back in 2023 when the Dodgers removed some of the queer community from being able to receive an award. And then also now we have so much going on here to the point, and I say this without joking, when I went to Pride Night on Friday the 13th at Dodger Stadium, I was honestly looking everywhere for ice to show up because it would be the perfect opportunity.
We had talked about
sitting
that. Yep.
ducks, absolutely sitting ducks. And I thought if there was any way for this to go south, we've already seen it go south. So I literally, and I think that's something that, Mo, you and I have talked about being our backgrounds. But when you walk into a place, you always know where the exits are.
Right.
And this was genuinely one of those times where I was thankful that I knew where every exit was at Dodger Stadium. Even though nothing happened, nothing transpired, it was still that amount of tension and anxiety and stress. When I want to go and hang out with friends and family and enjoy Dodgers and America's pastime of baseball, but having to go in there and think, wow, this is just sitting ducks in Dodger Stadium, in Chavez Ravine, there's a few ways in and out, but they could easily just do a roundup, like without a question there.
You're my friend, and we have these conversations on and off the air.
Sure.
And maybe I'm out over my skis, as they say.
Okay.
Have I, in your estimation, overvalued or exaggerated the responsibility of the organization to have something to say in this moment?
No, absolutely. This is the moment that you need to speak up. You need to, as always said, put your money where your mouth is. But the thing, and for this specific one, the Hispanic community is specifically with the Dodgers. It is a lifestyle. Again, it's as silly as it sounds. I haven't been following the Raiders because I'm a Charger fan, but I would hope that the Raiders. I know, trust me. Well, that's why.
Not that I want to be a Raider fan.
I park at your house,
right?
So I'm okay with it. But that's my whole thing is, if you're not leaning into the community that is supporting you by making your brand their lifestyle, that's huge. And if you're not saying something, I know it's hard to say what's right.
See, but you don't have to say what's right.
No, right. But it's that
acknowledge it.
Correct. And I think that's the biggest thing. Having your lips sealed is not a benefit in my observation or experience. And being able to be out there, that doesn't mean, but this is also that weird world that we're in right now, because everybody talks about the right side of history. And it's like, all right, y'all 2 strikes down right now. We're like almost third strike, you're out. But how does that play out?
I was thinking just in terms of self-preservation as a brand.
Sure.
It's what else, even if you do it just out of selfish motivation where we don't want to lose our fans, which most corporate entities do. If they said something to the effect of, we understand what is going on in our city and our heart breaks for all the families and people who are going through this very painful moment. You're not even taking any side. You're at least acknowledging that people are hurting, which is the least that an organization could do. If they would just do that, and I know people would say, well, that's not enough. You need to do more. I would rather they do something and acknowledge it than do nothing and act like we're idiots for not noticing them doing nothing.
And I think that's exactly the best way to, you phrased it beautifully. I mean, granted, we've been for several decades now, you and I have been talking on the air, but you literally set up their press release. You eloquently stated what needed to be stated, without taking a side, without having that. And I think that's really where we've been experiencing things, not just related to this with the Dodgers, but just in general over the last several years, of not being supported in any way, shape, or form, and acknowledgements not being made. Just like you said, that's the biggest thing for me anyway, is just being able to say there, just like you said, people in our community are hurting.
Yes, we hear you, we feel you, we're with you.
Exactly. And there's been nothing like that whatsoever. Not from the Dodgers.
Not
back
at all.
with, and even when they recanted back in 2023, it wasn't a genuineness to it. There wasn't an authenticity to it. There wasn't that wonderful, oh my gosh, they're actually listening. They're actually paying attention. It was just, we stepped in it and now we got to backpedal. So,
and then people start counting how many times you step in it after a certain point.
And this is a lot of Dodger do right now. Do. Yeah.
Hey, Nick, you want to hang around for a moment?
I would love to.
Because Mark was stepping on your segment at the top of the hour.
Oh, should I just go through news?
It was very, very disrespectful, but he doesn't care about anyone except himself.
Yeah, I can't apologize enough for that. Believe me.
The tone and the laugh. Thank you,
so
Mark.
Dismissive. So insincere.
I'm
100%
so kind to you and speak so warmly about you on YouTube, and we may have to rethink that.
Did you bring
Shame
food tonight?
on you.
Did I bring food today? What are you, hungry?
That's all he cares about.
I brought
himself.
chitlins. That's all you're going to get from me, Ronner.
Unacceptable. Let's
No
do the
one
news.
asked for your opinion. If you want to be fed, you're going to be fed with what I bring you.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that
By
either.
the way, random sidebar, completely unrelated, but we're going to squirrel it here. Did you know that Sour Patch Kids now have a dill pickle flavored Sour Patch Kid?
What?
And it was not an April Fool's joke. You may be seeing that here on Later with Mo Kelly sooner than later.
Yeah, and Mark will be eating.
Oh, he'll
that.
be eating it.
Oh, no. That's assault. That's abuse. I won't come near it.
KFI AM 640. Now let's go to Mark Ronner in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
You
go
come right back
anywhere,
here.
Mark Ronner. Sit with Nick
here. Come sit
Polacchini.
here.
We're going to have a dual experience. No,
Here.
We're
No.
not doing the news. You got time. Let's open up the second and third box, Daniel, so we can get Mark
Okay.
Ronner in a non-news environment.
This is very funny.
Why? What are we doing?
What people don't know is Mark Ronner came in here during the break demanding to find out why and where there was not food in the studio. Because usually Nick, when he comes to the studio, he brings food with him. And I guess Mark Ronner was distraught
being
Well,
presumptuous.
Offended? Yeah, very presumptuous.
My question is, can you put Nick on probation or something?
For not bringing
For
food?
not bringing food.
Yeah.
No, because he doesn't work here.
I was going to say, I don't work here, and I haven't worked here in 6 months, if we don't forget. December 2nd, 2024.
You're not still on the payroll here?
No. And many, many people think that, and I think it's funny, and it's probably something worthwhile addressing. I come to be a part of Later with Mo Kelly here on KFI AM 640, specifically because I enjoy being a part of this family since the Mo Kelly show back in the weekend times all the way to the inaugural season of 2023. Oh, funny. Dodgers, inaugural season. Look at us.
Yes, it is.
That tie-in. Anyway, but that's what I will always be here because this is an organization within the organization that is 100% worth my time to, for free, come up here and share with you, whether it is now on YouTube via Mr. Mo Kelly or via KFI, of the incredible things that you can do in and around the Southland in your own backyard, but also to have these really engaging conversations because this is the show where there's a lot of banter and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of different features that are coming through here Monday through Friday who have different opinions, who really do understand what is going on throughout the Southland. So that, Mark Ronner, is why I'm here.
That was quite a filibuster there.
Hey, you know what? I have friends on the Senate floor, and I will 100%.
All right, Cory Booker.
Out there. Right, exactly.
That was nice.
Yeah, I try. So, but anyway, yes. So,
Mark, why are you on your knees?
Because he's begging forgiveness, obviously.
I was getting right next to Nick, so that it would be a nice, clean two-shot.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I love how uncomfortable you can tell he is.
I know.
Now become officially morning radio. Like
It
old
is.
school,
It
like,
is. But that's the best part about
Right.
live radio. It just goes where it goes.
It does.
Usually Nick is here from 9 o'clock to 9:30. He's hanging around. Mark is usually in the news booth. Now he's in the main studio, just messing around.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
have
best part.
important things to do in there immediately.
Okay,
so
well-
I'll
You gonna leave?
Back to you.
Thank you.
Bye, Mark.
We'll miss
See,
you.
that's what you miss if you're not watching the YouTube stream.
You've got to tune in.
Special
on YouTube.
appearance of Mark.
Now I feel like Tim Conway making all the
Please,
dang
please,
noise.
please don't break the microphone. We've broken all the microphones.
Tim, I
in
love
here.
you, but I'm just saying, like,
These mic arms break very easily.
Very easily.
very easily. Thank
I
you,
broke
Seth.
one right as the show started.
I love that he hasn't left. This is very exciting. I love that the camera's also trained on him because everybody loves him.
I don't get out much, and
We know.
Mark
we
Runner,
can see
you
that with
have-
how white
you, have
you
a
are right
fan
now, buddy.
club.
I don't get around people very much, so I must cherish these moments.
I love the
You're not
fact that
believable.
Reb just said, is Mark super short or Nick super tall? Both. Both. It's and, not or.
I've always looked up to you, Nick.
Thank you.
I wish you could see the YouTube
If
feed
you
right
were
now.
not watching,
it is hilarious.
This is the best thing ever. This is what the next golden mic should look
You're
like.
a physical giant, and you really make me feel short.
Yeah, I know. Look at how demure he is.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I love that someone in the other room.
Did you just pet him on the head?
No, I on the shoulder. I was like, well, while you're
Don't
down
Peter
there.
Dinklage him like that.
No, I know. That's okay. That's good. Oh, wow, I got O's coming out. Thank you for the very demure. Whoever gave me the drop.
That's me.
Thank you. Good man.
Very demure.
Thank you.
You
This
have
is-
to see the YouTube feed right now.
Yes.
This is
Talk
hilarious.
about this
What
has
are you
become the
doing,
ultimate
Mark?
Pride Night event.
Mark's head is barely above the table.
You can see his beautiful hairline, though. It looks fantastic. You have a nice hairline. Shut up. Just say thank you. Don't
Hey, Mark,
chime in.
Mark,
You
get
just
back
say
to the
thank
news
you.
booth because you have the news break coming up soon.
Well,
Looks
I
like-
don't want to leave.
Okay. You want to do the news from here?
Can you pull it up on this laptop?
No.
Okay. We have so much tech in the studio
No,
since we've gone.
The camera's
online
trained on
and
Mark right
everything
now.
else.
It is so hilarious.
It's following him around.
It's following him around.
Please,
He's trying to hide
check
from
out
it.
YouTube right now. It is high comedy.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
I'll get you some pads.
The camera is up to you.
Okay.
It's waiting for you.
Feed, please.
No. It's
Yeah,
waiting for you to
the
leave.
feed.
It's
Look
following
that
you.
way. It's following
You're not
you.
following
Batman.
you.
It's not like they're going to think you're going to your
It's
secret
gonna.
cave.
Yes, it's gonna look at your ass as you leave.
Well, in that case, you're gonna get
All right, here it is. Here's the ass shot. There it is. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Okay, bye. Okay, let's see. Can I pick up the camera now?
Yes, you can. There you go. See, that's
There
why
we
you
go.
want
Now
to
we got
like
that.
and subscribe.
See?
Later with Mo Kelly on YouTube. You're not gonna best appreciate that on radio. But here's the best part: the live show will be saved and in archives,
Yes.
so you can catch it later on tonight. It'll be there for you, and you can see all of Mark Runner's ass, all of it,
Yeah, Kimberly.
all of it,
Oh, Kimberly.
all of it. It's just all up in the screen.
Hope
Kimberly.
you
on-
got a widescreen television.
I'm going to say, I was a little disappointed, Mark.
How could you
Oh,
possibly?
You have
be?
such a tiny, cute little high and tight ass. Like, I don't know.
Really don't know how to respond to that.
For all
Thank
the
you.
times you
need
make
to learn to
people
say thank you and move
uncomfortable.
on.
Now you're uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Yes. There we go. All right. Cut his
You
camera
ready?
now,
You ready
Daniel.
for the? You ready to go to break?
Yeah, if Nick's done talking about my caboose, yeah, we could do the news.
All right. It's later with Mo Kelly. We'll have our final thought, and it has to do with Amazon and AI when we come back. KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. Mark Ronner with the news. And I'm sorry if you missed what happened last segment. Just wait. You can't listen to the podcast. You have to see the YouTube show. It will be made available for you at the end of the show. You can watch it, and you can see all of Mark's ass or something like that.
We're deleting it.
It is just hilarious. I can't describe it to you. You just have to watch the interplay between Mark and Nick. And coming up in just a few moments will be Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, who joins me right now with the preview. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kelly, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Had a great day. How about yourself?
All good. We got a great show tonight. We're going to talk with the folks from criticalhealthnews.com about keeping people alive for a long time. And then later on in the show, the Salem witch trials. How many and what happened?
Sounds very interesting. I guess I'm going to have to listen as always.
Or I'll put a hex on you.
You probably would do that.
I would not do that to you.
Thank you. I got enough. Now, my wife would. She put a hex on me. She would.
Mark would.
Yeah, Mark, definitely. Yeah, he hates me.
Whatever you do, don't watch the footage of the show, George.
You've got a voodoo doll of Mo in your back pocket. I saw it.
It's headless now.
I don't want to be anywhere near his ass. Bye, George.
Let him go, for God's sakes.
Poor George.
All right. This final thought is all about Mark Ronner. I admit that. Amazon chief executive Andy Jassy told employees in a memo earlier today that he expects artificial intelligence to thin their ranks, reducing headcount. If you didn't know, Amazon is the country's second largest employer. I don't know if you caught that, but Jassy just virtually told everyone at the company that they were expendable and many jobs will be gone forever due to AI, and that Amazon is actively planning to incorporate it at all levels of their business. Here's from the memo. This is Jassy, the chief CEO, talking. Quote, in the next few years, we expect that this will reduce our total corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains from using AI extensively across the company. Close quote. So when I say that AI is going to recalibrate our economy and take away some jobs forever, Mark, you didn't want to believe me. This is, in fact, inevitable, even though you don't like hearing that, Mark. This isn't a marketing strategy. It is a business holy grail for them. What was the saying? You can have two of the three. You can get faster, get better, you can get cheaper, but only two of the three. Well, AI potentially means you can have all three while permanently eliminating complete employee classifications. No more paying employees, no more payroll taxes, no more benefits, no more paying out vacation time. Hell, no more loss of productivity to vacations, no more overtime or weekends off, no more 401k matching funds, no more disability leave, no more costly Christmas parties, no more uncomfortable conversations about raises, no more strikes. There is literally no downside for a company to integrate AI. And presumably it gets better and better at any job it is given because it learns with more data input. But don't lose the plot. Andy Jassy is just saying the quiet part out loud. Your company is doing the same thing right now. Maybe it just hasn't announced it yet. Any service industry is looking to decrease employee-related expenses, their largest expenditure, their largest variable cost. You thought Amazon didn't pay its employees enough before? Wait until Amazon gets a hold of HAL 9000 or Mother from the Nostromo. That's an alien reference. You probably thought it was all fun and games when IBM's Watson was winning on Jeopardy. What you failed to see was that AI wasn't just about winning digital chess games or answering trivia. It has always been about rendering a workforce obsolete. That's it. Now, Mark probably disagrees with this when I say that there are benefits. I can't help but wonder what AI will do in the field of medical research and curing diseases. We're seeing in real time what it is doing for transportation in the form of autonomous vehicles. But even that means the end of cab drivers, truck drivers, rideshare drivers, delivery drivers as we know them. Yes, Amazon will eventually replace their delivery drivers. You bet your ass they will. Those plans are already in place. They just haven't been shared publicly. Because AI is the answer to every sordid capitalistic dream connected to corporate greed. That is where Mark is right. He can't have it both ways. You can't assail capitalism because of its greed and not know that AI is the answer to all of their problems. Whereas economies have always evolved with the introduction of technology. For example, there are no more long distance operators, no more elevator operators, no more traffic light operators. People found other jobs to do in other industries, but that was then. This is about eliminating the labor force today as we know it. The moment that AI and robotics get on the same page, there will not be enough jobs for this country. They just don't want to tell you that uncomfortable truth because the truth would panic markets and destroy any semblance of economic stability. How do you tell the American labor force, which numbers around 170 million people right now in 2025, that a high percentage of all their jobs will not exist in 30 years, probably fewer? Now, if you're my age or Mark's age, that doesn't really impact us. We'll be out of the labor force in 30 years. One way or the other, we will be out. But your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, that they're in school right now, it will be life-defining. Amazon just told you what is on the horizon. No, wait, check that. Amazon just told you what is already here. And your jobs will not be long for this world. Because AI isn't about creating new jobs. It's creating new ways to eradicate your jobs altogether. That's the uncomfortable truth. Mark says it's inevitable, but it doesn't mean we have to just roll over and accept it and just lay back and enjoy it or something like that, some crude sexual reference. But I get his point. We should put up a fight, absolutely. But there's some fights you can't win, and this would be one of them. Now, is there a way that we can better integrate it so we don't all lose our jobs at the same time? Maybe, possibly, but AI in and of itself may not be real. But believe me, its impact is very much so real. And that's not going to change anytime soon. And it doesn't matter if I want to fight it, if Nick wants to fight it, Mark wants to fight it, Tawala, name anyone. The job that we have right now, whatever it is, there's a good chance it's not going to be here in 30 years. A radio show host, talk show, talk radio, AI will make sure it will not exist in 30 years, probably fewer. And I hate to break it to you, Mark, news anchors won't be here either.
I am the John Connor of news anchors, and I will fight it to the end.
For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.